After years of waiting, the Dragon Prince Season 4 is finally on the horizon, with the recent announcement at San Diego Comic-Con that the show will be returning this November. Deepcut made a video breaking down everything we learned at the convention panel, so make sure to check that out if you want to get all the juicy details. Or check out my Twitter thread about the panel, which I'll link below. Anyways, as usual I got the pleasure of talking to the co-creators of the show, Aaron Ehasz and Justin Richmond, about everything that we learned in the panel and what we can expect in Season 4 and beyond. Before I begin, I do want to apologize for all the noise, as this was recorded in a cafe. To make things easier to understand, I've transcribed the entire interview, so to access that, click the caption button on this video. Now, sit back and enjoy the interview. Ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome, yeah, so it's been a while, but finally we're back in person, asking Aaron and Justin some Dragon Prince questions. So, for those of you that don't know, we saw the entire first episode of Season 4 at the convention in the panel, and so this is going to be spoilery, so the questions I'm asking for episode 1, but anything else besides that, you can just say no comment if there's anything.
And this usually transcribed, but also usually use the audio too.
Yeah, you saw
All
it.
right. Okay.
I can cut out whatever.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
We're so happy to be here.
Transcribed. Aaron waves.
Aaron waves.
So yeah, so as you I believe you hinted at before, or I've asked about before, many fans were expecting a time skip going to Season 4. However, I think a lot of people were shocked that it's ended up being 2 whole years. Why did you decide on a 2-year time skip?
1 would have been too short and 3 too long.
Yes.
So no. Sorry, I'm such a jackass. Go ahead.
Well, we didn't want to keep people waiting an additional year
Yeah,
for a
exactly.
3-year time skip.
Oh,
Exactly.
So,
Matched up
now
to
we're
real
being-
life.
Yeah.
No, I think for the story we want to tell, and in particular the character changes we wanted to bake in going into, and the growth and in some cases the trauma that we wanted the characters to be carrying when we came in, 2 years was about right. It just felt right.
Yeah. We always knew it was pretty substantial, and then it became obvious. Like,
It would be enough that you'd see the characters
grow.
be different,
Yeah.
but still the same. I don't know. That's about the answer.
Well, that's right. Yeah, that's
Um,
right. We knew going into Season 3 we were going to do a time skip, and then we sort of narrowed down exactly how long it was going to be.
We also knew, like, even the world, we wanted to see, like, the hints of change, but still the old kind of problems are infused and putting up resistance and not yet solved and overcome. So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so, I mean, that is a substantial time skip that you mentioned. So should we expect other media and materials such as the graphic novels or short stories that we've been getting to fill in that gap? Or do we expect the show itself to fill that in?
I think there will be some flashbacky moments that tell us something about the gap. But Justin and I have also talked about potentially, we have a lot of story that we've talked about that happens in that 2 years. In particular, like, you know, the most active person in that story is Claudia, and there's some important Rayla stuff that happens during that time as well. And not to mention, I don't know, it's so hard to do this without being spoilery. But yes, we've thought a lot about what happens in that time, and at some point we would like
Probably
to
do
tell that
something.
story, but right now
Yeah.
we're just kind of hinting at it and implying it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, at the panel, fans were treated to a first look at the season, which turned out to be the whole episode of first episode of Season 4. So what were you guys most excited to see fans react to, or what were you excited to see?
That's a great question. I mean, I was excited for them to see the whole thing and like get to watch the show again. I guess I was excited about the Amaya sequence with Janai, right? The proposal. I thought that was really fun when we did it, and like, I just love the idea that these like poor flower dancers get the crap kicked out of them.
Yeah.
They're so adorable
Yeah.
too. Like their expressions when they first come out to do the dance are so like
I really loved Gren in his outfit.
No.
Yeah,
That's my
exactly.
impersonation of the
Just
one guy.
thing.
who gets,
Yeah, exactly. So I really like that. I don't know. I think I suspected this would happen. I was hoping it would happen in the room. Was that all the reintroductions? Got big laughs.
Ezra
and,
got a huge response.
Bait
I love
got
that.
a huge response, right? Like, you could hear people going like, "Where's Bait?" You know, and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool. It's also, you know, hopefully people, if you haven't seen the first 3 seasons and you do turn on 4, you're like, you at least get some introduction of like who these people are again and stuff like that. So
And to me, like, again, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but also part of it is like, we told the story knowing that there's a missing thing in the story, that there's the subtext or part of the story as you start to go, hey, I'm being really weird about spoilers, but like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Wait, it's been 5 minutes. Wait, it's been 10 minutes. I haven't seen this. And that by the end, you know, we sort of overtly ask the question. And I was sort of curious how people respond. It's interesting because I think you kind of feel it bubble up inside as you watch, and you're kind of wondering, and then you're left with it at the end. I don't know.
What's really funny is,
sorry to be so vague.
There were a bunch of memes last night about, like, you know, where is this person or whatever, and then it's that little girl drowning in the pool, you know, and then it's like and then Soren is the one underneath the water. Like, that's not true. I know, he's like a ton to the episode.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, it was funny.
He flosses.
I know.
He does
I
like
was gonna
drum
bring
beats.
that
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did the Soren flossing thing come from? Who thought of that? Because
I don't remember. Did we
It was. We knew at some point. I remember it was like when Callum leaves the room and overhears Soren bluffs, and the writing team pitched on a bunch of funny things.
Yeah.
And someone in the writing team pitched.
Yeah, I don't remember who specifically.
It's that new dance craze, and then I think it might have been one of the animators who made it specifically flossing.
My favorite, actually, now that you say it, my favorite bit of the episode is when Apelli goes, "He's right. All the kids are doing it." Like, he's like angry that Soren has actually been on top of him.
And then Cole, who plays Crowmaster, now Associate Crowlord, improvised his line when he's talking to someone at the party.
Yeah.
That was pretty adorable.
Yeah. And she just turns around and walks off.
Like, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
amazing. So, I remember back in 2019, I believe, you first told everyone about the Earth Blood Elf Terry, and in the new episode, we finally get to meet him.
Yay!
Yeah. Is there any more info now that you can give us about him? Like, anything that you want to mention about him that we should expect to see?
I mean, look, the biggest thing about him is he's this amazing character, and like he's, you know, the actor who plays him, Ben Collins, is a tremendous performer who showed up on day one, like holding his own. He is hilarious. He is vulnerable and emotional and dramatic and powerful and strong and all the things, and like. He's got to act against Raquel and Jason, who not only are phenomenal, they've been doing this for 3 seasons, right? They are Viren and Claudia, they're established, they're there, they have all their character, all that presence, all that power, and Ben has showed up and totally held his own. He's a great actor, and Terry is going to be a great character. People are going to love him.
Yeah, Jason and Raquel were just such great performers with him, and like sort of helped, like welcoming into the crew, and like I think made him feel at home the whole time, which was awesome. Also, he's just delightful.
Yes.
He's a really delightful character. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad to finally meet him. And I have so many questions about, like, how did this happen? Like, Claudia and him. But...
You know, when a human and Earthblood Elf eyes lock across the bar.
And I think that's also a part of the story of, like, those
missing
years.
years.
Maybe we'll tell at some point.
Yeah.
But they are... I don't know. I think it feels always... Over the course of the seasons as we've written them, it makes sense. Like, you can feel why they make sense for each other, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
it's great.
They have a great relationship. It's great.
Awesome, but
But it's tested.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
You know, yes, because speaking of which, I'm really interested to know if, I mean, it could be totally spoilery. Like, does Terry know what Claudia has done, like with her history with dark magic, and what she did to bring her dad back for potentially?
She knows. He definitely knows what she did to get Viren back. I think. Like, there's no, like, he was with her for a lot of that. Yeah, I mean, I think she's been pretty honest with him about who she is. Right? I mean,
yeah, I think he is uniquely non-judgmental, and at the same time, like, has a real deep sense of right and wrong and goodness and kindness and truth and what they mean in the big picture. And he obviously sees something in Claudia, even though she's become quite complicated. So, but I think
she's hidden some of it.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, I think she's like 90%. I think no, I think it's 100%.
I don't know. I think, but also I think that probably Terry carries some sense of I believe in her, even though, and there could be moments of doubt. I don't know. He is, I don't know. It's really interesting. It's a question we're constantly asking ourselves. But like personality-wise and like heart to heart, like they make a lot of sense for us.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. I really can't wait for those two. So moving over to some other characters we saw in the episode. So Janai is now Queen of the Sunfire Elves.
Yeah.
And we saw in the short story that Queen Sol, she wasn't always the most willing to become it because that was her sister's role, but now her sister's gone. So how has she taken to being Queen over the past few years?
I kind of don't want to say much because you actually see a lot of this in the show. Like we spend a fair amount of time with them, and so I don't want to spoil a lot of it. But I think Janai is a reluctant ruler in some ways. Like she's doing her best, and her people are under terrible pressure. Right, they lost their homeland. There's a whole adventure where Janai tries to go save the day. Like tries to go save the city and clear the Sun Orb, and like some of that you can see in the tabletop game. But like, I think it's been really hard on her trying to rule a lost people when she didn't even want to really be queen to begin with, and now she does want to be queen. Like it's not like she doesn't want to do it, but I think it's also not like she wasn't born into it, right?
Yeah.
So that's all.
Totally.
And speaking of Janai, as you mentioned, we saw her propose to Amaya, though, but it didn't go as to plan.
Yeah.
You could say. What inspired you guys to have the Janai proposal happen in episode 1 of season 4?
There's a lot of story to get through. It was a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think also 2 years have passed, and I think we imagined that was a very reasonable amount of time for them to have gone through probably a somewhat complicated courtship with some,
like humans and elves
and royalty and all the things
exactly.
that means, and but it seemed like a good moment of kind of confirmation of their love and start the wedding planning.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's have some fun.
Exciting. Okay, so for my final question, I want to move over to the graphic novel that just released because I haven't had a chance to talk to you guys about that really. Blood Moon Huntress, and we saw the debut of 2 currently living characters, like the most important ones, which I'm not sure if I said her name correctly. Kim
Dale or Kim Dale, yeah.
And Suro, who's the elf.
Skywing elf.
Skywing elf, yes. So without being specific and to put it vaguely, does them living through the story, since they both survive, does that have future implications? Could we see them eventually?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Awesome,
Yeah,
that's exciting.
100%, yeah.
I'd love to, Blood Moon Huntress in particular. She's very striking and
I don't know if... I'm not going to say it.
What do you want to say? You can say something.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, she's
awesome.
She's really interesting.
I don't know that we'll see Suro in family much, but
we will see Kim Dale.
Definitely see Kim Dale.
perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for answering all my questions, and we are also going to have an interview with them on our podcast, so I'll link that in the description. Thank you guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you all for watching. If you'd like to chat about the Dragon Prince and other cartoons with me, consider joining the Cartooniverse Discord. I'll link it in the description below. Make sure to subscribe for more Dragon Prince content, which we'll be covering a ton once the new season airs.